Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX with me, Devika Chopra. We begin with our top focus, which is water. In wake of the deadly terror attack in Pahalgam, which claimed 26 innocent lives in Jammu and Kashmir, India intensified its countermeasures against Pakistan. Following the suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty, India has now stopped the flow of water from the Chenab River. The Indian government has shut down the gates of both the Baglihar and the Salal dams, which regulate the Chenab's flow into Pakistan. Striking videos have surfaced on social media showing large stretches of the Chenab riverbed running dry with visibly reduced water levels that reflect the impact of the dam's closure. The Salal Dam, located in the Riyasi district of Jammu and Kashmir, has seen all its gates closed. As a result, water levels downstream have plummeted sharply, which has dried up significant sections of the river. The Baglihar Dam has similarly halted water discharge as well. What are the larger implications of this particular move of India? We'll take that conversation forward with our guests. I will be joined by my colleague Ajay, live from Jammu and Kashmir in just a short while from now. But before that, viewers, let's quickly first listen in to what the locals had to say when they found the water levels to be extremely low this morning. It was quite a sight for people who live in Jammu and Kashmir and who actually have seen the Chenab River in all its might. Listen in, then I'll come to Ajay.
मेरा नाम विपिन गुप्ता असें मेरी उम्र 50 साल हुई 50 साल च असें कदे नहीं दिखा ये चीज़ लेकिन ये पहली बारी असें दिखा कि जानी चनाब दा इन्ना पानी घटे दा खास करिए पाकिस्तानी वास्ते उन्होंने एहसास तो होएगा एक दिन दा पानी बंद करना उनकी बिजली जानी कि किंजा बना वो तराई तराई करना मारा दे
सर बहुत ज़रूरी था। जय श्री राम, ये सबक सिखाना बहुत ही ज़रूरी था क्योंकि अगर अभी नहीं तो कभी नहीं।
खून खोल रहा है कि पाकिस्तान भी किसी तरह से चढ़ाई करके उसको पूरा ही नस्ते नाबूद किया जाए और आज उसका एक ट्रेलर हमें अखनूर में दिख रहा है। अखनूर का चनाब कभी भी सूखा नहीं था और आज फर्स्ट टाइम अखनूर क्या कहते पूरी तरह चनाब इसका सूख चुका है। जॉब पे जाना था, आज मैं फ़ोन करके बोल दिया लेट आऊँगा मैं आज, पर मैंने आज इसको पार करूँगा ताकि कल को हम अपने बच्चों को बताएंगे कि भैया हमने चनाब पैदल पार किया है।
पाकिस्तान सोचता था कि हिंदुस्तान करेगा कुछ नहीं, लेकिन ये बिल्कुल ज़रूरी था और उनको पता चल गया कि हिंदुस्तान बहुत कुछ।
There you heard it. My colleague Ajay Jandal also with us on the broadcast before we bring in our guests. Ajay, if you can just explain to our viewers watching who possibly don't have much context beyond the videos that have surfaced online today, what really were the implications? When did India shut the gates of the dams? And how much time did it take for the Chenab River to come to such a level as we can see on our screens, wherein people could cross the river on foot today? And what is it that you picked up in your conversations with locals?
Well, Devika, it was, definitely an amazing, different kind of experience for me as well, because I have also crossed the river by walking, and the river which was flowing in a full swing in the past, that was reduced to only 1 feet of water was flowing in that river when we were crossing it. And it was, the decision of the government that they have to ensure that Pakistan has to be taught a lesson, because what we have seen that for last many years, whenever government of India have decided to build construct a new dam or new power project, then Pakistan started a hue and cry that this is going to impact our population, this is going to impact our power project and the irrigations as well. But when Pakistan is exporting terrorism to Jammu and Kashmir and this Pahalgam incident has taken place, that have shaken the nation, and that's why they have suspended all the ties with Pakistan by saying that if they are spreading bloodshed in Jammu and Kashmir and India, why we will allow our water to flow in Pakistan so that they can irrigate new terrorism in Pakistan. So that could be the reason, and that's why this has been decided. And when we spoke to the people over there, people say that we have experienced this first time for last 50 years. And those who are having a 50 year of age, and before that, if it has happened, then no one can say. But with whom we spoke, they say that we haven't seen such kind of experience, and it is required. even in Akhnur sector, from where this river Chenab is flowing towards Pakistan, in that location Pakistan have violated ceasefire in last 11 days for 11 times. Even yesterday night there was a firing from Pakistan side when Pakistan tried to target the Indian army positions over there. So that shows that this is something which is not tolerable, and that's why people in this area, they say they advocate for this. Even it is going to impact the lower area of the Akhnur sector as well, because they will not be able to irrigate their land as well. But they say that we are ready to compromise our crop, we are ready to compromise our life for some days if Pakistan has to be taught a lesson, because Pakistan is continuously spreading terrorism. Pakistan is continuously threat to the life of our civilians. So that's why this was required, and we are thankful to the union government, those who have decided these tough steps what they have taken.
Okay, Ajay, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, Ajay, to give us that perspective from Jammu and Kashmir. But let me now also have a larger conversation with our guests. I have with me Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, Professor Madhav Nalappa, the Editorial Director of the Sunday Guardian, and Major General G.G. Dwivedi, Global Strategic Defence Expert. I want to begin with Major General G.G. Dwivedi. Major General Dwivedi, I want to pose a humanitarian question to you, because that's become a major topic for a lot of people who are questioning the suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty and asking why India would make innocent civilians of Pakistan suffer for the mistakes of its army and its political leadership. How should India tackle this question, sir?
First and foremost, Devika, let me go back a point in time. It's since 1990 that Pakistan has been engaged in waging a proxy war against India. They are not the cross-border terrorism. Let me give you broad statistics. In last 3.5 decades, we have lost 5,000 security personnel, and we also lost 48,000 civilians, innocent civilians. So therefore, humanitarian, argument doesn't only affect one side of the line. It is both sides. And Pakistan has not mandated ways. I think India has been very magnanimous. We have taken very calibrated actions, but I think the Pakistan deep state, Pakistan political leadership hasn't got the message. So therefore, after the Pahalgam dastardly act by the terrorists, I think Indian government has now decided that it has to be better to war to finish, because we cannot just only give it by 1 or 2 strikes. That means it is rap on the knuckles. That's not going to hold good. So therefore, I think one of the very effective steps which government has rightly taken is to hit that the vulnerability of Pakistan. We are not looking at the people of Pakistan. We are going to teach lesson to the political and the military leadership. And 20% of the GDP of Pakistan comes from agriculture. It's an agrarian economy. So therefore, this step is very, very essential, because this will actually hurt Pakistan where it needs to be hurt the most. But let me take it forward, that these are only the beginning. This is only the curtain raiser. Lot is going to come. And I am quite confident that with the concrete measures that the government is taking at the diplomatic, at the economic level, and of course the military action is yet to come, I think Pakistan is already in a very, very dire state, because the economy is tumbled down and it is just on the dole of other nations. I think it's time that Pakistan leadership takes the message. And if it's talking about humanitarian ground, I think first and foremost, it has to stop the proxy war. That's from where the story of humanitarian issue starts. All I can say is the government has taken firm actions. Pakistan is going to feel the heat, and earlier it comes to the knees, better it is for both the countries. Devika.
Okay, I want to pose the same question to Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev as well. Ambassador Sachdev, your take on the same. How does India tackle that question when it's asked, why would you make innocent civilians in Pakistan suffer?
I'd like to hark back to history. In 2003, Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly passed a resolution asking the center to renegotiate Indus Water Treaty because rights of Jammu and Kashmir farmers were being trampled upon. If we go back further, uh, the Indus River Treaty was signed in 1960 after more than 10 years of arduous negotiations, uh, uh, pressed on by the World Bank. And let's recall those were the days when United States and the World Bank held the sway, and the idea was originated from a former head of Tennessee Valley Corporation who wanted to have the similar water sharing arrangement as Tennessee Valley had in the United States. But Tennessee Valley Corporation was within the United States. This one was among India and Pakistan. Those were the days when Pakistan was part of CETO and CENTO and was the preferred poster child of United States, while India, being non-aligned and dependent on foreign aid, etc., was vulnerable. India's vulnerability was used to arm twist it into Indus River Water Treaty, under which nearly 80% of the water, about 200 billion cubic meters of water flowing annually through these rivers and their tributaries, 80% of it was earmarked to Pakistan. 20%, the eastern rivers, Ravi, Satluj, and Bias, were given to India. Even the other three western rivers, Indus, Chenab, and Ravi, there was provision for various flow of the water dams for hydroelectricity generation, but Pakistan kept on filibustering, kept on denying India the rights and using all sort of excuses to ensure that the usage of these dams is first of all, they were not constructed. If they were constructed, they were used sparingly, and so on. Now we come to today's situation. It's a treaty in suspension right now, and all rights of various states party to it have been sort of kept in abeyance. Now, here, what is being done at Chenab River and might be done in other rivers is the process of desilting the dams due to desilting not being earlier sort of agreed to by Pakistan. The power generation capacity of these flow of the river dams has gone down significantly, and by desilting the reservoir waters in the first stretch, this would enable better utilization of turbines. It would also enable better reservoir handling. So first desilting, then filling up the reservoirs, and then the electricity generation goes up. Now, this happening in the beginning of the summer season is perhaps deliberate and is designed to send a message to Pakistan. Ideally, this should be done in a different time when water flows are slightly higher, but then that's another issue. Thank you.
Okay, I want to bring in Professor Madhav Nalapat into the conversation as well. Professor Nalapat, suspension of the Indus Water Treaty was one of the first things that India did. And up until now, we had only understood it theoretically. However, today, seeing the visuals of what has happened as far as the Chenab River is concerned, we do understand the practical implications of it as well. Do you think that this could perhaps work as a cogent strategy against Pakistan?
Devika, first of all, I would like to ask, where do the soldiers of the Pakistan army come from? And the officers? Do they come from somewhere, some other location? Or they come from within the province where we are talking about? So how can you say that you're making a problem for the ordinary people when it is the military that is responsible for this kind of an attack? Where is the difference in terms of people? The same people join the military, work in the military, and then they are active in all these responsibilities. So quite frankly, that is not an argument that's worth taking seriously. And I must say that the previous two discussions have been magnificent. But I just want to say that according to those who study these treaties, the Indus Water Treaty is more unequal than almost all the other water treaties put together. It's an extremely unequal treaty, and it needed to be renegotiated quite a while ago. Frankly, I don't know what happened and what kind of arm twisting or whatever twisting was done, but very frankly, I personally believe it was done on the grounds of hope that if you have become very generous, then Pakistan will respond. We have had this unilateral concession policy towards Pakistan for a very long time. We give unilateral concession, they want more. We give more unilateral concession, they want even more. They never respond back. It's something like the Chinese, They said they will do this if we vacate the Kailash Heights. We vacated the Kailash Heights and they didn't do anything. They just sat where they were, and we vacated the strategic Kailash Heights. So the reality, these two countries, they talk very sweetly sometimes, but the reality is they always behave in a manner that frankly does not fit the rules of international conduct. I want to say, Devika, that this indicates that the government of India is preparing for a protracted war strategy. It can be a quick war, but there will be a protracted nature to this. And this kind of tactic is ideal for that kind of a war. And may I point out, as has correctly been said, the Pakistan economy is near collapse. It does not have the resilience to go on for very long. The Indian economy is in very strong shape, much better shape. It's got much more resilience. And I'm very certain the Prime Minister is discussing with our friends abroad. And now the situation has changed completely from the first Cold War to the second Cold War, where China and the United States are the main adversaries. So I'm sure that a flawless logistics chain is being arranged for India. And in my view, Devika, this is a step which is essential in terms of preventing this scourge of terrorism once and for all. This strategy of bleed India by 1,000 cuts. The 1,000 cuts are 1,000 terror attacks, and much more than that. That's what they want. And I think this is enough. We have bled enough. We have lost enough lives to terror attacks. We have lost enough of our brave soldiers and security personnel, our civilians. And I think the Prime Minister has correctly said, enough is enough. What happened at Pahalgam was a red line, a very strong red line. And unlike in the past, when, frankly, 10 or 11 years ago, when red lines were crossed with impunity and India did nothing, this time around, India is responding. And I think that's the correct strategy. And I believe that we have to be ready for a protracted kind of situation until we see the collapse of Pakistan and we see, frankly, those nationalities in Pakistan that are completely dominated by the military and which are opposed to the military, which is very oppressive, I think you'll find that that collapse will come. And when that collapse comes, the Pakistan problem dissolves, as indeed the state of Pakistan will dissolve in a way designed to enhance democracy and liberty to the people of what constitutes the state of Pakistan. Thank you, Devika.
Okay, Mir and Gigi Dwivedi, I want to bring you back to the conversation. So as far as weaponization of water is concerned, sir, we'd also seen in 2016 that after the terrorist attack of 2016, China, in fact, blocked a tributary of the Yarlung Sangpo, which becomes the Brahmaputra in the northeast. Now, China claimed that this was done because of a hydropower project that they were building near the border, but we did see that the timing of this move of Beijing was quite suspicious and was perhaps in order to help Pakistan. I want to understand from your perspective, what do we do as far as China is concerned?
Well, Devika, I can give you my personal perspective because I have commanded my forces in this very region, and of course, our defense attaché in China. Well, China is actually seriously water starved. The northern part of China is water starved, and they supply water in the south. Now, Chinese strategy of damming Yarlung Sangpo is to actually transfer water from south to north. And they have created not one, but they have built about 5 dams, and the biggest one is coming up where the area of bend is there, where Yarlung Sangpo flows into India's Siang. So, China is actually known for using water as a weapon, because not only Yarlung Sangpo, they have also dammed the Mekong River, Salween River. So therefore, they have used this as a weapon. But let me at the same time state that India's stance cannot be compared with China, because firstly, China has not signed any treaty, any agreement as the upper riparian state, and we are the lower riparian state. There is no treaty. So therefore, they feel that will to do whatever they want to. Whereas India has signed a treaty, but as has been brought out and well known, that this treaty was highly unfavorable to India, and therefore India has all the right to actually renegotiate the treaty. So therefore, the Chinese act of damming Yarlung Sangpo is a totally different ball game, because Chinese are not even willing to sign a treaty or an agreement, and they are known to actually only honor selective agreement, and they don't sign any agreement. And then my last point is that Pakistan actually is to be squeezed. The chief is very fond of this word, jugular vein. I think we are exactly showing him where the Pakistan jugular vein lies, and that is Indus is the lifeline of Pakistan, and soon he will come to know where his known nation jugular vein is there. And of course, a lot of other actions are going to also are in the offing, and this time Pakistan is not going to get away with 1 or 2 blows. They are to be brought into the ring and knocked out, and that knockout punch only will actually make Pakistan army and leadership to stop this brutal war or proxy war. And if they don't still actually pay heed, then Pakistan is in for a very, very serious situation. Its very existence will be a big question mark.
Okay, Ambassador Sachdev, I want to pose the same question to you, sir. In a scenario of a water war, what does India do as far as China's covert support to Pakistan is concerned?
It's difficult to hypothetically speak on what we could do, but I think the important thing here would be first of all to create as much of a friction between the two, China and Pakistan, as possible. There are issues that the two sides don't see eye to eye on. First of all, the China-Pakistan economic corridor is hamstrung, and it has had basic issues about implementation, about loan guarantees, about collateral, etc., etc. Secondly, Balochistan and Pakistan occupied Kashmir uh, are the vulnerabilities of Pakistan and China linkages, and we need to cynically use these uh, vulnerabilities to make sure that the full potential of 60 odd billion-dollar Pakistan China economic corridor is not fully realized. Thirdly, I think we need to ensure that the $100 billion trade surplus that the Chinese seem to have with India is whittled down to a more reasonable figure, and preferably alternatives, suppliers, supply chains, etc. found. I think more Atmanirbhar Bharat would be call of the day. We need to have no illusions about China having it both ways, having $100 billion from India every year, and pampering Pakistan with the JF-10s and other defense hardware that enables Pakistan to snook its nose at us and thump its chest. I think all these and proximity to anti-China alliance that is forming at the global level would also be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, Professor Nanapath, I leave the last word with you. So on the same aspect, has anything changed from 2016 for India to perhaps believe that China will not be creating trouble as far as water flow is concerned?
Look, the Chinese will try and do whatever they can to create problems for India, because, as has correctly been said by the ambassador in his final sentences, that now it's a Cold War 2.0 between the US and China, and you can see from the Trump tariffs, etc., how determined the US is to ensure that its own much bigger surplus of China is whittled down. And I think it's important that we also do the same, as the ambassador was suggesting. So I would like to say, Devika, this has created favorable headwinds for us. And I think it's important for us to be very clear as to where we stand on this. There's no question of taking sides. One side has barred us and locked the door in our faces, and that is China. The United States, the door is open. So I think there is no question in my mind that we need to ensure that we are part of this alliance in Cold War 2.0, because that's the only choice we have. The other door is firmly barred by China, by Pakistan. So therefore, Devika, it makes no sense to remain quote unquote non-aligned in this kind of a situation. As I said before, if you sit on a fence that is cut into half and the two sides move apart, you will fall in between, or something terrible will happen to you. So I think there's no question of riding two horses at the same time. I think we need to take sides, and we have to get a seamless supply chain. We join this particular coalition, we have to ensure a seamless supply chain, and that seamless supply chain will be much more plentiful than the chain that Pakistan has got, but the Chinese resources, all said and done, are much more limited than the US, at least for now. They want to make it equal and then superior, but they're a long way from that. So I think, Devika, Cold War 2.0, it's important for us to take sides. And my last point, in Cold War 1.0, the biggest beneficiary was China. They joined the coalition against the Soviet Union. They were the biggest beneficiary. We joined the coalition against China. We will be the biggest beneficiary, and we will get the same advantage from this Cold War that China got in the previous Cold War. Thank you, Devika.
Absolutely. On that note, I thank all of our guests for joining us to take this conversation forward. That's all the time that we have. We step into a very short break.